All right. We now have little microphones.
May go terribly. May go great.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. At any rate, here we are.
Here we are. We're Herpetology of the Apocalypse. I'm Ray.
And I'm Dee.
Gasp.
Le gasp. That's le gasp to you.
I'm so ashamed. Yeah, I don't have anything really cool to say.
This week, we're going to talk a bunch about Cthulhu, which I'm mispronouncing horribly, but I'm going to say it that way anyway.
Well, if you pronounce it the correct way, we don't all be dead.
Hey, that's a really good point. I'm going to use that the next time I hear, that's not how you say it, among the elder nerds. Anyway, we're going to talk a bunch about Cthulhu. So I am wearing my octopus notebook. Octopus necklace.
Are you sure it's not your notebook?
I hope it's not a notebook because dang, I'm gonna be able to get like 3 letters in it, and it's and I won't even be able to write help in it. It'll just be like cut off.
Also, you're wearing your cute earrings and stuff.
Yep, they're eyeballs.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not really wearing anything cool. I'm just wearing the Baphomet shirt, I guess.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and a snake.
Not new. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Neither of these are new.
All right. We are now in a new to us apartment.
Yes. We showed it off last time, but here we are this time in a couch.
And yeah, it's pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us get started.
Yes.
All right. What you got?
I'm starting on page 217.
All right, I got 214 or 2114.
Okay, you start then.
All right, this is going to go for a while. Rose's room. Bom, bom, bom. The image in the background is of Sigmund Freud, famous psychologist, with a head with Cthulhu heads on top of him.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun. I have notes down here, and I'm trying to read this off my phone instead of the notebook this time. So I'm going to be looking up and down, looking up and down.
Good thing we have to do this time.
Yeah. Anyway, Sigmund Freud is generally known as the father of modern psychology, and he's kind of sus. Mm-hmm. Cthulhu was written by H.P. Lovecraft, and he is considered very sus. Yes, nod. Although I did do some digging on both people and came up with a slightly more nuanced version than I was ready for. I don't want to know anything good about Lovecraft at this point, but all right. Freud lived in the Austrian Empire. Now, the Austrian Empire does not mean Austria as such. Mm-hmm. He lived in the Austrian Empire back when that included Czechoslovakia and a bunch of other countries too. So he's actually sort of Czech or German Czech.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm part Czech and you're part Czech. You didn't.
That checks out, I guess.
Oh God. This whole week has been a horrible slew of horrible puns. We're gonna do a side note. I was at a liquor store and trying to find certain types of liquors for some recipes that I wanted to work on, like drinking recipes, not cooking recipes. And I couldn't find the gin anywhere. And then we walked around the corner, and lo and behold, there was this section with gin and vodka. And then someone had to open her mouth and say,
"We just needed a certain je ne sais quoi."
I remember when this kid couldn't tell jokes to save her life, and now we have this crap. Oh my God, I regret teaching you how to do this. I'm pretty sure you would have learned from someone else, but now
Sans undertale, a true mentor.
Yes, thank you. Good. Now when I ask you, why are you like this, you won't say it's me. It'll be Sans, right?
No, it's going to be you. You are Sans now.
Congratulations. No. Not that I regret being Sans. I just don't want to take responsibility for your horrific jokes.
Like, when I said it at the time, she went, "Oh no!" Like, the most outside voice that you ever could.
I know, it was like somebody went like this, and I was like, "Oh." It was a physical sensation of get me the hell out of here. Anyway, Freud. Back to Freud. He started out as a medical doctor. He lived from 1856 to 1939. He was famous for dividing up the brain into multiple parts. Not brain, the mind. How we operate our brain is the mind. So conscious and subconscious, he divided things as, and later he divided things into ego and superego. He's also famous for a book called The Interpretation of Dreams, with dreams serving as wish fulfillments of some form or another. Nightmares are a wish, according to this book. The nightmares are a wish for punishment, and therefore the resolution. Once you've been punished for something, you're also achieving some kind of resolution for the problem.
I guess those werewolves really did just be part of my sexual dreams or whatever.
No, not like he does get a lot of flack for everything relates to sex, and I'll go into that more in a second. But like if you have a nightmare about werewolves, and it's recurring, it's indicating that there's a problem. And a wish for punishment, like if the werewolves continuously ate you, then you couldn't be eaten anymore. It's done. The fear is done. So it's kind of like a subconscious thing where you go, there's a lot of fear. Maybe if I take punishment for it, it'll stop.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's not it's not sexual as such, but it's also kind of freaking creepy. Yeah. Anyway, Freud saw people as being driven by two things: their libidos, or a libido is your quote unquote erotic energy, which is different than sex as such. Eros is your love of life, which obviously includes sex, and sex does drive a lot of Freud's theory, but it's about more than just the urge to procreate as such. And the opposite of that is basically a death drive. And that's not even a drive to kill yourself or anything as such. It's an urge to reduce conflict to the absolute minimum, which sometimes expresses itself as depression and suicide, but mostly is just like, I just don't want to deal with it. Right? Okay.
You're explaining this a lot better than my psychology classes did.
Relatively speaking, Freud was progressive for his time. Now, I'm going to get into a weird example of how he was progressive for his time, and you're going to be like, yes, that counts. Okay? He said that morality comes from the fear of having your dad cut off your dick. I'm not joking. Therefore, only straight cis men with dicks can therefore be moral.
I'm sorry, trans women.
Okay, wait for it. His daughter was a lesbian who also became a psychotherapist later on, right? And incidentally, she lived most of her life with the heir to the Tiffany fortune, Dorothea Burlingham. And she would like tell him all of her like nightmares, her dreams, and her sexual fantasies, which often involved being chased down by a straight guy. I was like, whatever. But here's the thing, which takes us back to the point from earlier. He didn't have her lobotomized or thrown into a mental hospital for being gay, which was actually quite common at the time. Homosexuality was considered criminal behavior in the Austrian Empire at the time, and the more progressive doctors were arguing that it was a mental disorder and not a criminal one. So he, relatively speaking, he was progressive for his time.
Yeah.
Like that kind of, the whole dick cutting off thing makes more sense if you're like, I just need to keep my daughter out of prison. I'm not comfortable with what she's doing, but maybe she's not a criminal for it. Like he didn't take a very big step, but he took a step. Anyway, all right. So then there's Lovecraft. 1890 to 1937. He was American and from New England. His father was committed to an institution while he was a child for psychosis and died in 1898 of what seemed to be late stage syphilis. This was like the first, I don't know about the first, but a rabbit hole, one of the many rabbit holes that I went down this time. Syphilis might have come from the New World.
That's why you were.
Yes, right? Like the only reason, like syphilis as a disease only shows up in Europe after Columbus comes back from the New World. So like the theory is, which is not proven, but it's a relatively strong theory. The theory is that Columbus's people, everybody that went over there, the Spaniards, went over there and raped so many people that they brought back an entire new disease with them. Like one direction, Columbus was spreading out blankets full of smallpox, and in the other, they were raping so many people that they brought back freaking syphilis with them. Okay, now syphilis is tricky.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to diagnose because it looks like a bunch of different stuff, including leprosy, which just gets me every time every time it comes up. It's come up before, like syphilis can be just confused for leprosy. I'm like, okay, that puts syphilis in a new perspective on how serious it is. But at any rate, you can transfer syphilis by sexual transmission, fluid transmission, kind of like AIDS, not eggs. What the hell?
You just throwing people.
Smash, you're gonna die. Or parent to child transmission. It doesn't look like that H.P. Lovecraft got syphilis from his dad or his mom, either one. It does not look like that. Because if he had it, it would have affected him in characteristic ways, like massive lesions and sores and the leprosy crap. And he didn't show any of that. So whatever was going on with his dad, if his dad had syphilis, it wasn't like he gave it to H.P. Lovecraft and then that's how come he went nuts. Because he went nuts. H.P. Lovecraft learned to read at 3. He was writing stories by 7. He got obsessed with astronomy and he started publishing the Rhode Island Journal of Astrology at the age of 12 and the Scientific Gazette at the age of 14. When he was 14, his grandfather died. His grandfather had a ton of money and everybody associated with the family just kind of went, zoop, we have no more money and now we have to do something. About the same time, H.P. Lovecraft started having a possible autoimmune disorder and possibly migraine symptoms along with depression in high school. His mom was probably most of that. She would say things like, he's so hideous that he's hiding from people.
Wow.
By 1919, she was also in a mental institution and she died in 1921 during a gallbladder surgery. And I tried to see if she was syphilitic and couldn't find anything there. And she would have shown symptoms too. At first, H.P. said he was sad about his mom's death and later felt relieved that she had died. He married, but later separated and divorced from his wife. Eventually, he died of intestinal cancer. He was a white supremacist, but only English white people. If you were white but not from England, you were just as bad as everybody else. So, a German person, he was like, pfft. But if you were white and from England, then he was like, those are the superior people and should be running everything.
Sorry, my brain had gone in the complete opposite direction of working with specifically with English white people, and I was like, what?
No, he's only like it's just he's racist against everybody except the country. It's not even race anymore. It's just race and I don't know, cultural background or some crap. Anyway, he was an atheist, but wrote about obviously cosmic powers that are indifferent to humanity. And he treated ignorance as bliss and knowledge as torture. From a guy who learned to read at 3 and like got obsessed with astronomy and stuff. Like, did everything that you learned hurt you, or was it just some things? I don't know.
I'm just gonna assume that we're just filing that under the mother being an abusive person, and
I don't know. It's complex.
right.
As an adult, H.P. Lovecraft made questionable choices. Like he had a cat whose name was the N-word Toe, and uh, just was just repugnant in many ways.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like, woof, wow, he came from some crap, man. Anyway, the meaning of overlapping those two things, maybe. Um, Freud versus Lovecraft. Freud saw the world as being very meaningful, but said the meaning is created by the self. So, like when you have a dream, it's meaningful. When you see something that feels important, it's meaningful, but that's because you made it be meaningful. And Lovecraft saw the world as non meaningful and humans as being insignificant. Um, I kind of got to the point where I was like, it's almost like uh, Lovecraft is a character. He was a real person, but he's almost like a character predicted by Freud. Like Freud's like, if somebody messes with you and your urge to live to the point where you really just kind of want to die, you're going to be messed up in some pretty particular ways. H.P. Lovecraft, nuh-uh, I don't believe you. You first, you know. um, and then the reason that Rose is associated with both, she is her handle is also tentacle therapist. So Lovecraft, Freud, tentacle therapist, and I was like, don't confirm or deny. Is that a way to make Rose as kind of like fixing the universe by reconciling two powers to comprehend? Existential therapy for the old gods.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. Existential therapy is therapy where you go like, the universe is meaningless except the meaning that you bring to it.
Sure.
Sure. Anyway, very cool. All right.
I would like to make a minor note for the whole Ed, Ego, another such from Freud.
Mhm.
That ends up appearing in I Have No Mouth and They Must Scream, the game. Just
Another reference, and eventually we'll get it played, but we haven't yet.
anything else you want to say on that?
No, 2015.
Yeah, go again. I got
Ugh.
17.
It's like playing a dice game, only it's stuff we're doing on purpose. Okay, so 25, 21, 15, and 16, we get Flighty Broad as Rose's first name, and then we get Rose Lalonde. And Lalonde means, it's French, it means of the land. And then I went like, oh crap, I never looked up Egbert. Egbert is English for bright edge or famous with a sword. And then I went like, I wonder what the Old English word for hammer is. Maybe it should have been egg something else. The Old English word for hammer is hammer. So now we know he's not egg hammer or anything like that. Or Hammerbert. I'm not sure. I don't remember which one. Bert is probably bright, so Hammerbert.
John McHammer.
John McHammer. Hammer, son of Hammer. Connor McLeod. There can be only one hammer. All right, I'm on 2017 now.
Okay.
Please go.
Yes. Rose reminds me of Courtney Crummin.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. A kind of comic series. Well, was published as books and stuff, like a certain amount of
graphic novels.
Graphic novels, yes. Yep. But I don't think it was like a giant web series comic things the same way. No,
I don't think so. I think you're right. I think that was mostly in like maybe a magazine once or twice, but mostly a graphic novel.
Yeah. They were published 2002, I believe. I wrote it in my phone notes, but not on these notes. But I'm just going to go off of here.
Okay.
It's the story itself reminds me of those teen shows that are like, oh yes, we have a girl and she's sent off to her uncle, and having been sent off to her uncle, she now has to face these supernatural forces in her area. And she like through reading her uncle's book gains more knowledge about the supernatural and can now fight these supernatural creatures. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Not exactly that, but boy howdy. Just that kind of that was a genre back in the 2000s for teen shows, yeah?
Yeah. It also, like, now that you mention it, I'm like, she kind of looks like a dark haired version of the Billy and Mandy from Billy and Mandy.
So far, we have now gained 2 girl characters without noses. How many more noseless characters can we acquire from this? Ruby Gloom, no.
Okay.
I do mention Ruby Gloom later, but it's not for this.
Okay.
Anyways, I was like, oh yeah, we've got the the Lovecraft stuff on the walls, Sigmund Freud, as both as like having once again no nose. I was like, these two things overlap, and I was like, hee hee hee. So I looked further into the creator of Courtney Crime. So I was like, his name is Ted Knife, who I keep trying to call like Knifey. That's not it. I thought he worked on Hellboy, but apparently he did not. Yeah, like he's got that kind of art style and I guess sense of humor from what I can remember. But no, he worked instead on Gloom Cookie, How Loathsome, which is apparently a comic adaptation of a PSP game called Death Kama Jr. Like it's got some like huge different in art style, so I was like, I have to double check on that later, but I cannot check on it right now because wow, is that two dissimilar things? Not sure how it went from one to the other. And finally, he also did like some illustrated parts for Magic the Gathering and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But otherwise, seemed pretty neutral kind of guy. Just, man. But that was mostly just it for that. I also wanted to note that Rose's room is untidy, even though we've noted before that she's I like things to be all perfect and pretty and all that kind of
elegant.
Stuff. Elegant, that's
elegant.
Word. Yes. But her room is a complete mess, things strewn about and stuff. Just wanted to make note of that. Also, there's a lot of striped clothing, and I think that was a huge 2000s goth fashion thing,
yes.
Like Hot Topic and stuff.
Yes.
And here's where I'm mentioning Ruby Gloom as my reference for, like, she always wore red and yellow striped stockings for her cartoon version. I don't know if she did that for her pre-cartoon version because there used to be a difference between the two.
Okay.
Like the pre-cartoon was more, I'm goth and death and blah blah blah. Meanwhile, the cartoon's like hee 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 kind of thing. Yeah. There's another goth girl I was trying to find, but I could not find her. She's on a book series.
Oh, Emily Strange.
Yes, thank you.
I was like, wait, what books do you have with goths in? Emily Strange. I think she has a nose.
No, I think she does too, sadly. But I could not find the origin of where that came from, but it was generally 2000s. I know that MCR had the Death Parade stuff that wasn't stripes necessarily, but had the bands looking stuff, so it was cross to look kind of like ribs or something. But I was also thinking of, I know this isn't necessarily goth, but like slitting your throat, your wrist and stuff being horizontal and stripes, but no,
okay. I'm gonna go out on the limb here and say probably it was just Freddy Krueger's sweater.
Oh.
Like yeah. You wanted to. Goth culture is often a culture, like actual goth culture is a culture of recycling things. So a lot of the earlier cultural stuff was you went to a thrift store and you bought everything, and then you were like, oh, okay, I want ruffles, and now me and this box of Black's dye are gonna get together in mom's washing machine, and then she's gonna be pissed because everything else she washes it in, and after that it's gonna be black. So it was a lot of buying stuff and recycling Halloween costumes and hot glue guns and things like that.
Neat. Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. Okay. Also, LMAO.
Yeah, it was like cosplay for yourself. I want to cosplay as myself. So we have to build all of the clothes.
Cosplay culture coming from God stuff?
I think cosplay culture is more of a Japanese thing, but there's always been like alternative culture type stuff, subculture type stuff where you go like the grunge people with the plaid that came from all these plaid shirts in like country stores. Like you go to the feed store and there'd be all these like horse things and chicken things, and they'd have like sections with heavy coats and really cheap plaid clothes. And so you'd buy them, and they were sturdy for farmers, and then you just wash them to death until they fall apart. But like the ripped jeans thing was just, I can't afford to replace jeans, so I'm going to pick them apart a little bit and make a fashion statement of the fuzzy ripped parts. So,
I mean, it obviously works considering we still do it to this day, but
yep.
That's what I got for 217. It's now your turn now.
2117. Rose's room. All right. She's got a violin. Apparently that's relevant later. Then there are some characters on a wall. They're from an unfinished Andrew Hussey story called Wizardly Herbert that started out as a Harry Potter satire. And I was looking up that stuff and got pointed toward a neat thread where Hussey talks about his overall writing process. And he says Homestuck was kind of an exception to the other stuff that he was doing, in that he wanted to kind of explore some ideas, but the way he was exploring them meant that it almost was accessible and not as weird as his other stuff. And so he was like, well, I can't be having that. So he kept recycling a bunch of the stuff that he had in previous comics. And he would also find excuses to have at least some of the characters go completely ham on whatever weird thing was crossing his mind that day. And he talks about the trolls, which is going to come up later. And I went, uh-oh, spoiler territory, and stopped there with that. So, also in the room is a Cthulhu figure called Fluthulu that apparently comes from Problem Sleuth, and I will probably hair off on more Problem Sleuth next time. And then I stopped looking at that thread because I didn't want any more spoilers.
Yeah.
I also noted her bed was messy, and she does a lot of purple and black knitting. And then back in this discussion thread where he's talking about various things that he does, he mentions humanimals. So I looked that up and found a GitHub, I guess, repository. Anyway, a GitHub place called mrcheese.github.io/Andrew Hussey. And oh my gosh, all the things. So I did a relatively shallow dive into the various nutty things that he did before Homestuck. They were much shorter. They were much more intense. And they were much more outrageous. Like even Problem Sleuth is several steps down from like some of the more outrageous stuff. And by outrageous, I mean just meant to elicit outrage, not necessarily that I was outraged. There was the humanimals stuff. I just cracked up over that. Those were pretty funny. I also looked at Zoo Smell, and now know where the first time when the John Egbert was getting named and he got a name he didn't like. It was Zoo Smell Poop Lord. And now I know Zoo Smell, which is all about characters who are more interested in the smells of zoo animals than they are in anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to follow that rule. It's like 12 comics long.
Yeah.
It's really short. Zoo Smell is really short. And in each scene, there's stuff like a guy driving his wife to the hospital because she's pregnant. She's going to give birth. And there's an exit on the interstate that says this way to the zoo. And he's like, goes off to get some zoo smell while his wife's in labor. And to me, I was like, that sounds really familiar. Like I know something about that. And I finally got down to an anecdote that the sci-fi author Spider Robinson puts in a couple of his books. And I want to say it really happened, like it was something that happened in New York City at the time and he was aware of it, but I couldn't track down that it actually happened or didn't. So it might just be a metaphor or something like that. Anyway, he was talking about a guy in New York City who had some kind of health problem, and people came into his apartment and they were like, dude, your apartment is filled with open buckets of shit. And he's like, yeah, I used to work for the sewer department and the smell just got good to me. Oh. And I was like, you know what? I think that zoo smell is almost like literally just carrying that idea out to fruition. Like somehow the smell just got good. Mm-hmm. And now your brain is flipped over to where the unpleasant smell is the pleasant smell. And it's better than anything else you could possibly want or think of. And I can see why that's funny. It's like I'm taking a rule that, oddly enough, it's very similar to like rules that normal people follow, and I'm carrying it to a logical extreme to the point of ridiculousness, and people don't see how it connects to their own lives. Like, why did you do the stupid thing? I don't know. The smell just got good to me. Okay. So why did you become an alcoholic? I don't know. Being drunk just got good to me. Stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, another one that I looked at was another short comic called How to Embarrass a Duck. Okay. And it's all about a person explaining this with extreme, intense focus and as if he were perfectly logical about how to embarrass a duck by embarrassing it using human techniques. The human techniques used to embarrass the duck become increasingly deranged and self-abusive rather than embarrassing the duck. The duck is just completely nonchalant throughout the entire series. And something I noticed about it, other than the fact that it was another rules-based one. You have to follow this rule. You have to follow it to the point of just complete insanity. There you go. Is that the art style was better. Like, the older the comics were, the more involved and quote-unquote artistic they looked. Mm-hmm. Like, it's almost like the better Andrew Hasse got at making art, the more he chose to use that talent in making consistently deranged, not very artistic looking art. And that reminded me of Hyperbole and a Half. Ali Brosh, who is a good artist. And we haven't heard from Ali Brosh for forever. I tried looking up the website and there was no updates. But just makes and did fabulously well selling this ridiculous childish looking art. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was pretty cool. I also went down another rabbit hole about rules-based humor. Okay. One of my favorite examples is Chuck Jones, who did most of the character designs and a whole ton of the episodes for Looney Tunes. Okay. The original series, not... Oh, that's why you're... Okay. That's why I was looking that up. So anyway, he supposedly sat down and said there's going to be strict rules for each of the characters. Mm-hmm. And when they're in a scene or they're doing gags, they have to follow these rules. So I'm going to read you the Coyote and Roadrunner rules. Mm-hmm. 1, The roadrunner cannot harm the coyote except by going beep, beep.
Okay.
2. No outside force can harm the coyote, only his own ineptitude or the failure of Acme products.
Okay.
3. The coyote could stop anytime if he were not a fanatic. And there's a note in here that says, a fanatic is one who redoubles his effort when he has forgotten his aim. 4. No dialogue ever, except for beep beep. 5. The roadrunner must stay on the road. Otherwise, logically, he would not be called the roadrunner. 6. All action must be confined to the natural environment of the two characters, the Southwest American desert. 7. All materials, tools, weapons, or mechanical conveniences must be obtained from the Acme Corporation. 8. Whenever possible, make gravity the coyote's greatest enemy. 9. The coyote is always more humiliated than harmed by his failures. There's 2 more possible rules that are kind of unconfirmed. They come from a different source. 10. The audience's sympathy must remain with the coyote. And 11. The coyote is not allowed to catch or eat the roadrunner.
Okay.
So everything that's in a Looney Tunes cartoon is like procedurally generated by sets of rules like this. So very much like Andrew Husse's sort of humor there.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I have until 2118. And even that's just a snarky comment.
I got 2019.
Haha, 2018. Okay, so Rose, the users tell Rose to take the arms out of the purple box. She hides it. They tell her to puke on her own bed. She refuses to do that and finds it disgusting. And they tell her to show them the journal, and she hides it. And I went, but is it free will? Or is she just following a Rose rule where she keeps things private? Anyway,
Okay.
that was it.
Speaking of the throwing up on the bed, I don't have the specific quote in front of me, but she's said to do that like a flagellum, which is like cell tail, so like how you move in sport, you get little tails and stuff.
Oh, flagellum.
Yeah, flagellum, yes. Or like how sperm move, they've got the little tail things. But those can be described as thread-like, supposedly. And I was like, we have one thread-like thing, we have a violin, a stringed element, and we have knitting. They all go together.
3 things. Probably they resemble a pattern. Okay.
Also, the page where she's referencing the whole Lord of the Rings Gollum thing. I also wanted to note that it also implies that she knows that she's being watched and stuff. And it's like, I feel like that says things about her later, but it's not yet put upon.
Well, they already are doing things that kind of indicate that they know that they're not in real reality. So I guess I wouldn't be too surprised if they were a little bit of fourth wall breaking here.
But I think it's specifically for Rose in this case.
Oh, yes. Okay.
My next thing is 21, which was the stringed violin thing. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
21, 22. You go first.
Yeah. Okay. 21, 22. The song is "Agree," the violin refrain. It's by Mark Hadley again. Hi, Mark Hadley. But it was arranged by Andrew Hua and mastered by Gabe Nezovic. I forgot to look up what those terms mean. Do you have any idea what those mean?
Mastered is when you're messing around with the sound files to make them sound like real sounds instead of like collections of nonsense.
Okay.
Arranged is somebody was jamming around with something and somebody else went and, okay, we got to write this all down. And let's make it so that it has chords instead of it's just a whistle tune. Da 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 is a tune, and somebody gets credit for writing that. But arrangement is like, here's the sounds played by the violins, here's the sounds played by the other instruments. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Arrangement fills things up.
She used to be in band.
Yep.
So she knows things that I do not. But anyways, both of the people, Andrew Hua and Gabe Nezovic, have gone pretty much invisible for like social media and stuff. So Gabe Nezovic had released an album called Spaced, all caps lock, 4 years ago.
Okay.
And that's what I got on that.
All right. I got some more stuff on that.
Yes.
The violin tune. It reminded, I was like, wait, is this even the same song? So I had to listen to Aggrieved, both versions, several times. I'm like, okay, this is kind of like when you were listening to the theme song from Tetris and it was done with a violin or something. I forget what version it was, but it was done with like regular music, non-digital musical instruments. And you were like, wait, what is this song? It sounds familiar. Anyway, it sounded familiar. So I looked up a bunch of violin music and I ended up at Bela Bartok, his string quartet number 4. Bela Bartok is Hungarian and he kind of looks like a freaking vampire, a blonde vampire. Like his face is unnaturally unwrinkled no matter how old he is. It gets a little bit wrinkled as he gets older, but he just kind of has really huge dark eyes and like no hair color to his hair, so it looks very Nosferatu like. Anyway, this is going out on a nutty tangent here. He wrote an opera, and then mentioned this because I was like, Bela Bartok, why does he sound familiar other than the music? Oh yeah, he wrote Bluebeard's Castle, which is a symbolist opera that I happen to have watched quite some time ago just on YouTube. It's a work about how people are controlled by fate and can't change the outcome of what happens. So Bluebeard's Castle, Bluebeard is the tale of a guy who marries like 7 wives in some versions, and like he marries a new wife and to like, oh yeah, I the other wives all died in tragic accidents, and he marries this new wife and brings her home and is like, you can go anywhere you want, just don't look in this one room. Here's the keys to all of the rooms. And this play is more like what happens when she opens the room and tries to basically find a twisted logic to excuse the murderer from murdering all his wives, because he's psychotic and doesn't know that he's actually killing women. He just thinks that he's sending them to heaven in some weird non-literal way. Like he prays for them and they ascend to heaven because they're perfect beings. He doesn't actually know that he's murdering people.
God, that sounds like that would be an interesting RPG horror game.
Yeah. Yes, this would be like, it's a short play. It would make a great short game. But it's all about inevitability. Like she dies because she can't restrain her curiosity. He kills her because he doesn't even know that he's killing her. There's a cosmological attachment where he goes, yes, there's only 4 total wives in this one. There's the wife of the dawn, the wife of the morning, the wife of the evening, and the wife of the night, or something like that. Anyway, it's short and it's weird, and the music is cool, and kind of like the violin version of this. But it made me think, oh yeah, hey, fate is really just the same thing as Andrew Hussey going, we're going to make these characters follow these freaking rules. They can't break the rules. Like in Humanimals, or no, like in Zoosmell, the characters have to, no matter what they love, no matter what they hate, they have to choose the Zoosmell. And it looks very much like fate. And it's really just, there's a rule that nobody tells you, but that the characters are following. So, obviously Zoosmell is a good deal more funny than Bluebeard's Castle, though. I guess if that's your sense of humor, which mine is. All right. I made a note on 21-24, but nothing before that.
I got 21-23.
Go for it.
I wonder if Liv Tyler knows that she's in Homestuck.
wonder if any of the people in these movies, like the one person I would be like, no. I think there's two people I think would know, might know. Like you think Nick Cage would know.
Okay.
Like Nick Cage would be like, what?
Uh-huh.
But he would be like, all right, I'll roll with that. Because he does so many weird things anyway that like I'm pretty sure it would enter into his head and be like, all right, okay. The fact that people use my movies as some kind of like B movies are the greatest B movies ever, and some people are like Nick Cage movies suck. He's probably cool with that, right? But I also think John Malkovich would probably know about it, and if he knew about it, be like, "Yes, I have researched it extensively. It's stupid." And secretly, he enjoys it. Mr. Sarcasm is gonna sarcasm. Okay. Anyway.
I'd also like to note before I continue on the Vic Tyler thing, that the specific John plastering himself against the poster reminded me of The Good Place with Jason Mendoza. I'm going to call it a Homestuck reference. Whether it actually is or not is not important, but now it is a Homestuck reference.
What does he smush himself against?
Selena Gomez, I think? No. Ariana Grande, I think.
Ariana
Grande. Maybe.
Anyway.
I can see the.
Anyway, a singer.
Yes.
Okay.
It became a meme for a while, but
all right. I think I missed out on that.
Yeah.
Not being a Tumblr citizen. I miss some things sometimes.
Yeah. It just none of them were funny enough to send it to you, sadly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, it's him being like, oh, blah blah blah, we're in it now, kind of thing. I was like, yeah, Homestuck reference credit. Anyways, back onto Liv Tyler, what I was actually supposed to be talking about. She was apparently a goodwill ambassador. She donated specifically to children and women's breast cancer funds. Was an actor, as obviously she's in Armageddon. She was a spokesperson for Givenchy's perfume and cosmetics, which I really don't know.
I think it's Givenchy.
Givenchy's. I mostly just wrote down the name because I was like, I'm pretty sure that's going to be important for something at some point. And occasional singer for things like covers and stuff. Yeah. But she's been in Armageddon, the Lord of the Rings trilogy as Arwen, well, again, Lord of the Rings, and 3 Marvel movies, which were 2 Hulk movies and one of the more recent, like 2025 Captain America movies. Yeah, as a character called Betty Ross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is, but we'll go from there.
The Hulk's original love interest.
Oh, okay.
Betty.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm mostly off in the land of thinking about the one cartoon animated niche one that's like it goes to another planet and becomes their champion, and I'm like, where does Betty go into that? He's not even in there. He's just not. But that Hulk was so great. No.
Oh, okay. So one of the Thor movies.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Because Thor was like, hey, we work together. We're friends.
No, this is specifically the cartoon animated
version.
Okay.
No, I was thinking movie. All right.
This is way before then.
Okay.
Yeah. You're thinking of Thor Ragnarok?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I don't know the name of the one I'm thinking of.
Well, that's not helpful.
It's not. I should add it to the things that things look like, yes. Name Hulk cartoon movie. Alright, to be added, I guess. But just Liv Tyler will come up later again in Homestuck.
Okay.
Yes. I am now on 21-25. What do you?
21-24.
Okay.
This is the first time we actually get to see Rose's tree modus, and it works just like the
terrible thing you're talking about.
The terrible thing I was talking about last time. I like the name is the tree thingy. but it's alphabetical instead of numerical values. And it automatically rebalances itself, which means it is kind of linear. Anyway.
We will see further shenanigans
Yes.
about that later. It will be, oh, yeah, I guess those solodexes are their own rules and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
More of the rules-based humor. Yep. It's fate.
Okay. 2125?
2125. Okay, go for it.
So I was looking at the specifically the animation, and it occasionally flashes red as well as the white. And I know that the reds are just the meteors and stuff, but I was thinking about them as like instead red lightning, and I was like, is red lightning a real thing? Answer is kind of. They are called red sprites specifically. Because they go above, well, I don't know why they're called specifically sprites, but they go above the cloud layer, go into the atmosphere kind of thing. So like upwards lightning. They're from positive lightning hitting the ground and stuff, and it just goes upwards. But I was looking at that and I was like, it kind of remind me of little plasma globes when you put your fingers on it and you see the lightning and stuff. For that kind of coloration.
Plasma balls.
Yeah.
You said plasma gloves.
Oh, globes.
Globes. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, they kind of look like that because they also have the weird little, when you have your finger on it, it goes kind of fluffy on it. Yeah, it kind of has that kind of look to it as well. But there's that, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll look further into weather stuff, and I was looking specifically at the meteors. The red coloration is not specifically because they're being burnt up and getting off stardust, and that's being burnt the way that like you would have a candle that would burn and it'd be like color based on whenever you burnt it. Instead, this is the nitrogen and oxygen when they're superheated, they glow red. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. So it's from the atmosphere. And it's only the slow meteors that do that because the fast ones do the colors, and they're the ones that are burning the weird stuff that's on them. So, like other colors, like white and green and blah, blah, blah. But the slow meteors are the ones that are like, we're going slow enough that we're only burning the oxygen and stuff. So, it's in canon that, well, not in canon, it's now confirmed by reality, I guess, that the meteors are going in game in this bird game going slow enough so that the players can like potentially stop them, and that's why they're that red.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're being on purpose slow.
All right.
Yeah. I was like, neat.
Odd.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if we did that on purpose or not, but I just was like, cool.
Okay.
Also wanted to say the word mausoleum.
That's not in there. I didn't miss that, did I?
No.
That's just you.
Yes, it's just me. There's the mausoleum for the dead cat, and
it's a mausoleum. Yes.
It has a cat head on the museum. Mausoleum.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, somebody got it. Mausoleum.
Finally, after all these years.
Everybody else is twitching. He's like, the glory! All right. My 2125. The dead cat Jaspers. I did a hunt for all things Jasper. And then I went, wait, no, it's Jaspers, plural. So I looked that up, and it turns out there is a famous early psychologist whose last name is Jaspers, Karl Jaspers. He was Swiss-German, noted for the book General Psychopathology, which is famous for its focus on the form of symptoms that people are having with mental disorders, not the content, which means the way that somebody holds a particular delusion or neurosis is more important than the actual delusion or neurosis itself. Like before that, people would go like, okay, so this person is like obsessed with doors, so they must be having mental issues related to doors. And after that, people were like, this person is obsessed with counting the number of times they check the lock on the door. If they don't check it 5 times, then it might not be locked. So it became easier to categorize things in repeated behaviors or like anxiety or
Wow. Yeah. Neat.
antisocial stuff.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, philosophically, he got kind of weird, and this ended up being another odd little branch.
Whoop.
Uh-oh, what?
Happy 3.
Happy 3. Um, he believed that when people confront what reality actually is, they can't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
They run into barriers.
Mm-hmm.
And like science only goes so far, religion only goes so far, whatever it is, one given system can't contain reality. And they end up either being resigned or depressed, or they take a transcendent leap into what he called existence. He spells it EXISTENZ, a very particular spelling.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that spelling, that name, is the name of a David Cronenberg movie.
Oh.
And this is the guy who made The Fly with Jeff Goldblum in it. The scientist steps into a teleporter and ends up swapping bodies with a fly. It's both appealing and gross. He also did the movie Naked Lunch, which is about the writer William S. Burroughs going completely nuts.
The Thing too, yeah?
Nope.
No. Okay.
That's somebody else entirely. And then also a movie about psychologists, Freud, Jung, and Sabrina Spielrein. Spielrein. It's called A Dangerous Method. And it's about it's about Freud, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Freud, kind of his sort of opposite, Carl Jung, who believed that the subconscious mind really was very just more complex than 3 things, and has all kinds of, like, everybody collectively has archetypes that are built by social stuff. Anyway, they both well, I don't know if they both, but I think in the movie they both had sex with this person to try and cure her. Okay. Which is the dangerous method in question. And eventually what happened was she was messed up, and then she became a patient of them respectively, and then she became a colleague. And then they were like, how dare you? You're not our equal. You're just some crazy lady. And eventually she got killed by the Nazis. The end.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever the shadowy laboratory is, I didn't get far into it. I just went like, that sounds like something Frankensteinian. So I'm waiting for the lightning plus laboratory plus satellite dish to come up with something, but I don't remember if it does or not.
Side note, we were watching Jujutsu Kaisen yesterday, and one of the characters died, and I kept making jokes about
Frankenstein!
Frankenstein him now! I kind of was right.
I know, but what if you can Frankenstein stuff over the internet with a satellite dish?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I got for 21-25.
Yeah. I got 27 now.
Yep. Same.
Okay. I have a small thing on that. The creature, I couldn't find the exact symbol. I'm thinking of something very specific, and apparently the internet has failed me. But I found something similar called the Kolobrat. It's kind of looks like a Nazi symbol, but it isn't. It's got do.
You can't see this.
Well, no, it's probably good you can't see this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's this weird thing.
It's like an 8-armed wheel.
Yeah. Here. There you go.
It, like, in a number of games that I've, like, tabletop role-playing games that I've played, it's the symbol for chaos.
I was like, looked into it vaguely because I was like, this is not the thing I am looking for, but at least I know that there's a symbol that looks kind of like it. It's a symbol for the Rodnabury, or Eastern Slavic faith.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. I did not get past
that. I don't know how to say that name either.
No.
Okay.
Did not get past that, just was like, and left it at that point, because it's not the thing I was thinking of.
Whereas I'm like, and now we're back to the 8-armed wheels of Inanna. But
yeah. But the one I was thinking of is like bigger circle here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and nothing on the inside. It's like There you go. Anyways, so
Anyways,
very similar looking, but could not find it for the life
so my note here is that the grimoire for summoning the zoologically dubious, it probably refers to the Necronomicon, a fictional book created by H.P. Lovecraft, not as in he wrote it, but he just mentions it in multiple works. In anything that you see that says it's the Necronomicon is made by somebody else.
You worked on, or I don't know if I should mention this, because it's way in the past, the Nom Nom Nom.
Yeah, I worked with some people on some food/Lovecraft tales, but the project kind of went weird, so okay. I bailed.
Yeah.
So let's not promote that because it didn't go well, and the authors did not receive what they should have. So, yeah. Okay, we're not going to link to that.
Yeah. But in general, people make the pun a lot of Necronomicon kind of thing, food related. Mm-hmm. Like found an Itch.io game that's a cooking game. Also trying to get the summoning demons and other such. And I was like, yep, all right. Could not play it because once again it was a timer game, and I was like, terrible. No, I just wanted the recipes. Weird tastes, apparently.
Okay, so another note on there. Mm-hmm. Zoological means related to animals. Mm-hmm. So this is a spell book for summoning stuff that's probably not actual animals. Yeah. Okay, which I thought was funny. Yeah. Because people are like, yes, it's an octopus. No. Okay.
My next thing is the page 29.
Same.
In which I said, I want that wizard painting. And that was the specific thing of where I was like, well, now I have to order something very specific, but I'm not going to say what it is yet.
Is it this painting?
It is not this painting. It's this thing I was telling you about repeatedly yesterday.
Okay, fair enough.
But anyways, I just was like, I have to get this one thing, but in the future I may get that wizard painting.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fair. Yes. Okay, so my note here, and this is my last note, by the way. John Egbert is not a fan of clowns or cake. Rose hates wizards, or so she says. Their parents try to force them off on them anyway, but if Rose hates wizards, why does she have wizarding characters on her wall?
Irony.
Okay, that's all I got.
Yeah, I thought about that too, but I was like, I probably should leave that be until we see further stuff.
Okay.
But I wanted to note that there is an arm on one of the pages that's just hanging out, specifically when she goes out on the balcony outside thing.
I didn't get that far.
Yeah. Okay, never mind then.
Okay. I stopped at 2029. Okay. I was like, and now my eyes are glazed over. This is close enough to the end.
Okay. Then I think that's what we got for both of us so far.
Yeah. For me, the coolest thing was the fate thing. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm like, procedurally generated humor is kind of the same thing as fate. It's weird. Like, Greek tragedies are almost always built around a character who refuses to change or grow. Mm-hmm. Like they just keep doing the same thing, and eventually the thing that got them success also is the thing that destroys them. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, dang, that's pretty cool.
I don't know if Hasi will forever follow these rules, and probably will find new rules and be like, ooh, this is interesting. Mm-hmm. Because, it's like 7 years long, or however years long webcomic and stuff. You just don't follow the rule forever at that point.
Yeah.
For your own sanity. But it'll be interesting to see the point of where that breaks, of where he says, no, we're done with this now. Or maybe chooses something else, I think.
Okay. Because I'm like, from all the time that we spent on the setup of the story, we know, and like little hints that you've dropped here and there, we know that the stuff that's in the beginning shows up again and again and again and again and again, and that's kind of a rule.
Yeah.
But there are so many different moving pieces that I think that that's probably why things become unpredictable. It's just too many things to predict. And personally, I feel like some people are like, yes, I follow the rules, and other people are like, no, I break all the rules. And I'm like, I'm looking for places where the rules kind of butt up against each other, and then I can do what I want because now I have free will. So I wonder if that will come out. Like, there's so many rules that there's some loopholes that nobody was expecting to be there. Like, if this was supposed to work and it didn't, actually, that's a good thing. Okay.
Yeah, things like that I think will be interesting to look forward to in the future.
Excellent.
Just, I'm not going to say anything specific past that.
Good.
I think the thing that I liked hearing most was about the you going into details about Freud and stuff. I'm like, this is further shenanigans that I did not know about, specifically about Freud, because mostly I just hear people complaining about him being a weird sex weirdo.
Yeah. Freud, he's wrong about stuff. Yeah. But he was less wrong than the dudes before him.
Yeah. Like, I'm glad for that and stuff. And I'm kind of miffy about the old psychology class that I went to and stuff. Because now I'm like, there was further cool, interesting stuff that could have been taught, and now I'm pouty about not being taught that. So I'm probably going to go on a tangent on my own researching that stuff, I guess.
Yeah, when you talk about like organized anything, they're supposed to be teaching you theories so that you can like extend theories and go further and further out. They're not always going to teach you the interesting controversy, because for most people it's a distraction from the forward learning path. Whereas, like, especially if you're neurodivergent, if you get like the flaws behind the progress, then you're like, oh, so this whole process, it's okay for people like me to do it too. Like, if I screw up, that's cool. All right, going. You know, we find it encouraging to go like, yeah, Freud. Oh, well, okay, that makes way more sense now. I can also extend the thought a little bit and apply it to like Homestuck instead of feeling like Freud is dumb.
Yeah. Or like use some kind of caricature. But it was vaguely reminds me of how you're looking at the cocktail cookbook or cocktail recipe.
The cocktail codex.
Yes.
I still want to get it, but I don't know where I put the box.
The box is right there.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. It's this giant recipe book of where you get to like look into the how things are, why it's that way, etc., etc. And she's now grabbed the book, so we're going to learn more about it here in a second.
This is the book, and it starts with 6 cocktails. Inside cover. There are only 6 cocktails. So say Alex Day, Nick Fauchald, and David Kaplan, the visionaries behind the seminal book Death and Company, Modern Classic Cocktails. In Cocktail Codex, these experts reveals their surprisingly simple approach to mastering cocktails with the root recipes. 6 easily identifiable and memorizable templates that encompass all cocktails. I know. And then there's graphs.
Yes.
Please feel free to write it on while I find the graph, because I don't remember what page it's on.
We tried one of the cocktails yesterday, like not the full version of it, because we accidentally missed an ingredient and instead created an entirely different cocktail.
Look,
sorry, you created an entirely different cocktail.
No. The thing is, it was already in existence.
Yeah. No, I mean, you had a path. You were supposed to go on one path. You ended up on a completely other. Just it's already named and out kind of thing.
Yeah. But it supports the theory that they're all kind of the same cocktail, because I was like, well, all I did was screw up one thing and then try to fix it with something else, and like that's how you got there. So here's the map for an old-fashioned And I just love that you can start with one drink and end up on things like a banana rack. Like, what the heck is a banana rack? I will find out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, side note on that. That kind of thing, like that's the kind of thing that I like in the games that I keep telling you about. That I'm like, yes, I wish the
Oh,
items were
yeah.
combined together in ways to get different things, like having a mushroom, phoenix feather, wizard it has, and you can like combine those in different ways and end up with completely different results. But the first three things were just those three things, kind of thing. So like you end up
So,
with
recipe games and alchemy games, maybe?
yeah, like there's a specific one I can think of. Your brother trying to bother your little sister. You have a whole room of things like blue cheese, stinky socks, toys, just random things you find in the boys' room and stuff. And you can make things like giant robot dinosaur, stinky monster made of cheese, and it's all kind of gooey and stuff. And the sister's like, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty princess somehow, that kind of thing. But it all starts with those specific ingredients, and you're just like, how did we get here from this? Oh yeah, we had this little tree diagram of stuff that we made here. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yes, delightful. That's what I am wanting. And yeah, you just, I'm not finding those games. It's terrible.
Yeah, they're too logical. You were telling me about there's one game where, like, if you assemble these three ingredients, you get pancakes. But if you want the more crazy recipe, you can get blueberry pancakes.
Or, and hear me out, you can like add blueberries and bananas to make blueberry banana pancakes.
Yeah, that's way too linear.
Yeah, it just, I don't mean to be a dick on that specific game. They're doing their best, but I mean, these recipe answers are too boring. Please.
How did we get there from here? We want to be able to see a recipe and go, how did we get here?
We have the ingredients.
We are. This is both logical and surprising.
Yes. I guess that's hey, it's another rules thing, I guess.
Yeah. Because I was like, wait, Homestuck, logical and surprising. Yeah, right. Okay.
But that's what I've got on that, I guess.
I think that's all we have for today.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Bye.
Until next time.
Yeah.